Welcome to the Life of Geeks $100 series. Every episode uses the same rule: one baseline, $100, and we ask what that money actually buys in two different countries. Not tourist brochure prices and not abstract exchange rates on a screen, real categories you feel every week: food, housing, transport, healthcare, and everyday life. We keep the anchor fixed on purpose. When both sides are measured against the same $100, you can see purchasing power instead of getting lost in currency symbols. Prices vary by city, neighborhood, and date. What you see here are representative comparisons for the regions shown on screen. This is education and context, not financial or immigration advice. If this is your first video here, subscribe so you catch the next matchup. If you have been here before, the comparison still starts the same way, because new viewers need the frame. Drop a comment with the two countries you want next. Let's see what $100 really means. Today, Istanbul versus California. Here is the whole test in one sentence. The same $100 lands in Istanbul, where it becomes about 300 try, and it lands in California, where it stays $100 but faces California prices. We will count the same card on both sides: simple meals, grocery staples, rent, share, transport, internet, and the everyday pressure those categories create. This is not a contest about which place is better. It is a receipt-level look at buying power. Food will show the gap first, housing will keep it honest, and the final scorecard will show where the money stretches and where it disappears. Start with food, because food is the fastest category to feel. In Istanbul, a simple local meal in this model is about 350 try. That makes $100, roughly 12 inexpensive meals. In California, using a $23 meal anchor, the same baseline buys about 4. Those meals are not identical experiences, and quality can vary a lot. But the difference is still sharp. In Istanbul, the note can become days of simple eating. In California, it can become a few stops before the receipt starts to hurt. Now move from cooked meals to groceries. Put chicken, eggs, and rice in the cart. In Istanbul, $100 can mean about 17 kilos of chicken, 36 dozen eggs, or around 61 kilos of rice, depending on market, quality, and season. In California, the same note is closer to 7 kilos of chicken, 19 dozen eggs, or 25 kilos of rice. This is where the comparison becomes household math. A bigger grocery basket does not solve every problem, but it can change how many ordinary meals you can build. Housing is where the comparison has to slow down. A central one-bedroom estimate around Istanbul is about 35 try per month in this model. That means $100 covers roughly 12% of a month. In California, using a $2,455 rent anchor, it covers about 4%. Food can make the gap feel dramatic, but rent decides whether the monthly budget actually breathes. A lower rent number can also come with trade-offs in space, commute, quality, or sharing. That is why this slide matters. Transport and internet are the weekly rhythm. In Istanbul, $100 can equal about 299 monthly transit passes or 788 months of home internet on these figures. In California, it is about 144 transit pass and 133 months of internet. California may give you highways, jobs, services, and convenience, but the cash leaves faster. Istanbul often gives you more small daily moves per dollar, especially if your life fits local transit, walking, short rides, or neighborhood shopping. Now imagine a full local day in Istanbul. A simple breakfast, lunch, dinner, a ride across town, a grocery top-up, and some connectivity can all fit inside the same mental budget. The exact basket changes by neighborhood and habit, but the feeling is clear. The money gives you options before it runs out. That flexibility is the human side of purchasing power. It is not only how cheap something is. It is how many normal decisions you can make without the receipt taking over the day. Now put the same $100 in California. A few meals, a grocery run, fuel or transit, coffee, sales tax, parking, and one convenience purchase can drain it quickly. That does not mean California makes no sense. Wages, family, schools, companies, healthcare networks, and long-term opportunity can change the bigger picture. But the receipt pressure is real, and many viewers already feel it. The value of this comparison is that it turns that feeling into visible categories. The human context matters here. The diaspora is smaller, but Istanbul brings broad curiosity. Inflation, bazaars, cafes, rent, and a city that looks unforgettable. A price chart cannot tell you what a neighborhood feels like, what family support changes, or how income compares with local expectations. It also cannot measure safety, commute stress, building quality, healthcare access, or the value of being close to the people you love. So treat this as a buying power comparison, not a judgment of a city or the people who live there. Here is the scorecard. On raw buying power, Istanbul stretches $100 across most daily categories. Meals, groceries, internet, and transit go farther. California compresses the same note quickly, especially through rent, restaurants, and services. But this table is a snapshot, not a life decision. A city can be cheaper on basics and still complicated to live in. Another place can be expensive and still make sense because of income, family, stability, or opportunity. The biggest surprise is this: California is expensive, but Istanbul inflation keeps the comparison honest. Istanbul can make $100 feel larger, especially for food and daily basics. California can make the same note feel small, but it may also come with income, networks, infrastructure, and services that change the larger budget. That is the honest tension of the series: same money, different gravity. The best answer is not simply cheap or expensive. It is what the $100 has to do in each place. Before the wrap-up, keep the caveat simple. Prices vary by neighborhood, exchange rate, season, inflation, and whether you shop like a local or a visitor. The figures here are representative mid-2026 estimates, rounded so the comparison is easy to follow. This is educational context only, not financial, tax, immigration, or relocation advice. The goal is to understand buying power, not to turn one receipt into a whole life plan. That is Istanbul versus California on $100. If you want the next episode, subscribe to Life of Geeks and comment Istanbul, plus the next 2 places you want compared. Same $100 baseline every episode, side-by-side cart, no currency confusion. I will see you in the next matchup.